everyone? Welcome back to another late night, another sci-fi picture. This one is the original film we'll be watching. We have watched the John Carpenter version of The Thing from the 80s, and a number of you have recommended to watch the original one from the 50s, The Thing from Another World. So that's what we'll be doing, and without any further delay, we'll get into this picture, because Captain, we are a go. I like that John Carpenter kept the original title, the effect. He just didn't add the subcontext from Another World.
If it amounts to anything, ring me in on it, will you please? Sure. I gotta get a story someplace.
What better place to get it than Antarctica?
But that it isn't a meteor.
That's obvious.
How do you determine the distance to the point of impact from here?
By computation.
Ready?
So whatever it is, wherever it came from, was changing directions and probably wanted to land specifically where it wanted. Cool. Radioactive. Hey, that was the... Okay, so I understand but in the original one, they were, if I'm not mistaken, they were Norwegians before everything happened that had discovered this. And so I wonder if this is the black and white footage or the pictures that they had in Carpenter's, whether it's these people.
Captain, may I suggest that we spread out and try to determine the size and shape?
Right. Spread out, everybody.
So that's how they eventually stand in a circle.
Well, then, do you think that the answers to your questions will be much easier after we've examined the interior of the aircraft?
Well, as a journalist, you can imagine his head is probably ready to write a story or a headline.
Half-text radio Fogarty, we found a flying saucer, a disc, whatever you call it, intact, embedded in the ice. We're going to try to get it down.
What about me?
Actually adds an interesting element by having a journalist there, by having his, him trying to practice his own, amendment right for publicizing a story, except their discovery is on Air Force terms, which means it's private, and, the camera that he has, whatever story he wanted to write, carries on for the next people who discover.
Here's some axes. You can chop around to put the whole block in the sled and take it to the plane. I agree with that.
Get started. Give me room. Bob.
Interesting. 8 feet tall. So they find an actual, well, let's say thing at the surface of it after bombing, nuking it. So that's a lot more different from what we've been accustomed to with how this thing enters the story.
629-49, item 6700, extract 75,131.
Well, they're taking it for jokes now, but they'll have a reason for the Air Force to begin investigating it, or maybe they'll never know, because at this point, I don't know if everybody will die.
You mean we're not allowed to examine it, to investigate
just that,
whether
Doctor.
This is stupid.
A scientist.
And Dr. Carrington's in charge here.
Find out whose jurisdiction you're in. You're in the scientist camp, and as scientists do, the scientist must discover.
I could use something to read. Nice, quiet horror story.
Might be kind of tame for you, sir.
No, I don't know if that's part of the foreshadowing, but nice, quiet. It is a horror story, but it will definitely not be quiet.
Well, here's another. We don't know what effect the air of our Earth may have on this creature's remains.
Sort of go up in smoke, like the saucer.
So far, his own reasoning for not chipping is very pragmatic.
We're keeping the body in a block of ice, and Dr. Carrington wants permission to remove the body from the ice for examination. We're standing by for instruction before further action.
Certainly, they didn't destroy the entire spaceship. I mean, how could they? They destroy the entire spaceship with the thermite bomb, and then it just so happened the body's still there. The spaceship has probably withstood it.
My editor, climbing all over his office, yelling, stamping his feet, breaking windows. He'll probably shoot himself.
Well, the word travels quickly, and when he's in the eye of the storm, like, who better to write this, but he doesn't have authorization.
Got an electric flying suit and a pot of coffee. Bob will relieve you at 2400. Right, sir.
Take it easy.
Yeah.
Everything, they seem to be setting up everything as calm, under control, the captain and his love interest, and then suddenly, slowly, the ice is melting and this thing is getting thawed, and he will be there to wreak havoc. Just the towering shadow, and the dogs were such a focal part of, such an important part of it. Oh, empty slab. There we go. Now he could be anywhere.
This blanket was on and it's still warm.
The electric blanket. He quickened everything. He was wrestling with the dogs, so if you never know, if the dog might have chewed on one of his arms, the blood, the dogs are already contaminated, or they could be dead. That's quite gruesome. For the 50s, that's chewed off his arm.
No, Mr. Scott, I doubt very much if it can die, as we understand dying. Cats. Yes. Well, Doctor?
It can't die. Does it grow back an arm? It doesn't have blood. So, very, very smart. We haven't seen it yet. They're still keeping it under wraps. I'm assuming we'll see it towards the third act.
If we can only communicate with it, we can learn secrets that have been hidden from mankind since the beginning.
If they're granted, the ability to communicate, since they're using the analogy of a vegetable, what makes, who knows if it can even communicate or think or speak in the same language?
This is the best we could find, Pat.
If this doesn't work, I don't know what will.
Where are you going, Captain?
Find our visitor if we can.
One moment, Captain.
It lives on blood, so, if all the dogs are gone, it's a vampire, they'll start eating them.
The only crimes involved were those committed against it. He woke from a block of ice, was attacked by dogs, shot by a frightened man.
It's such a scientist plea, a stranger in a strange land, and the only thing crime was committed was what it was like. What basically he's the victim.
Eddie?
Hold it, Captain.
Oh, that's brilliant. The Geiger. That's good stuff.
None of the others were locked. What's in here?
The greenhouse.
The Eskimos have a weakness for our strawberries.
Strawberries at the North Pole.
Excuse me.
How also John Carpenter kept everything contained within the camp, like the design of each camp, how it was sectioned off. Each person had their own room. It's, somewhat taking, inspiration from this film as well.
So few people can boast that they've lost a flying saucer and a man from Mars all on the same day.
He's so crossed. He could not get a picture, even.
What's that?
It must be a dog inside there.
A dog? You don't
Must
suppose?
Open it, please.
Wow. Okay. The thing has been he's in the camp and he's toying with them.
Will you stand guard here with me tonight, Voorhees? And you, Larry?
Very clearly, Doctor.
Good.
We're already starting with the you keep secret, you don't tell him stuff. Now trust is starting to degrade, and they're starting to communicate less with each other. Everybody has their own motives, agendas. This is good.
Barnes, get out there and watch that corner.
Somebody bring the first aid kit, please. Captain, this is my job.
Bob, you better start warning everybody else in the camp.
Oh boy, they're all smiling, listening to reports of Fogarty, and suddenly somebody comes in from the greenhouse, and he's half dead. Wow, I didn't anticipate that. I thought they were going to hold out on it.
You're sure there's no other way out? No windows, skylights, or vents of any kind?
Only the front and back door.
These walls solid?
Corrugated iron.
You don't think that...
Oh, he's not gonna. The doctor's not gonna like it. He's gonna wanna talk to this thing.
Isn't there something we can do about it?
They're dead, and our job is to see nobody else joins them. As for you, Doctor, you're limited to your room, laboratory, and the mess hall till this thing's finished.
Captain, you have no authority of any kind to issue such an order. No right to assume...
It seems like the doctor could care less that two of his own colleagues are hanging upside down, as like in a slaughter. That's brutal.
Notice these closer to the source of the plasma, while these farther away.
How many units have we?
Enough, I hope.
Well, this sort of gets into the whole John Carpenter movie, that it can sort of mimic anything, it can reproduce. Yeah, it's similar but not similar.
Space.
Those are theories. This is an enemy right here.
There are no
Even now,
enemies in
maybe.
science, Professor. Only phenomena to study.
There's no enemies in science. The complete opportunist. And he's a little bit too blind to see the, ignorantly blind and sort of career blind to see the danger in all of this.
Like a kid with a new toy. He'll just...
Only this toy's level to bite him. Thanks again.
Well, they're successfully, protecting the scientists, but then there's also a complete breach and a jeopardizing of evidence and overstepping your bounds.
What do we do, Pat? Get on that radio and try changing the Army's mind.
Good thing you said that without without Doctor being there.
Captain, I got a crazy idea. We got lots of kerosene and we could...
There you go. Burn it alive with a flamethrower. That was the initial, the test that Russell what's his name? The test that he was doing was with copper. But again, that's what everybody's blood he was testing it. In this case, it's slightly different. It's a lot more direct. Gotta burn that thing.
1.8.
Come on, those spikes.
1.9. The needles hit the top.
Oh, what an entrance. That's so cool. Wow, that was a phenomenal sequence.
Well, could you use leads to two poles and catch in between them?
If you insulate the poles.
Sounds good.
There you go. They were getting a lot more ingenuity. But who knows? Who knows what the doctor will do? At this point, the doctor is sort of out of the loop.
Lieutenant, did you do a good job on the outside door of the generator room?
Houdini'd find it tough getting
It's
in.
better than even money. He'll come through this corridor.
Yeah, it's the only way.
I have no idea how in this case, in this version, the thing is a lot smarter and a lot more of a sort of horror villain presence as opposed to, who is who.
Back to my court-martial.
You're doing more than breaking army orders. You're robbing science of the greatest secret that's ever come to it.
Better go back, Doctor.
Every time there's an order from Fogarty, Doctor comes in as, says, I think this is my chance to see if Captain Henry budges.
I was just wishing that I had a chance to test this thing to see if it would work.
What if we haven't enough foliage?
Just keep swinging on its arm.
And they don't have that much time to see if anything works at this point. The temperature is going down. They have a Geiger counter that's blinking faster.
Keep away. Keep away. I won't allow you to destroy...
Oh my, Doctor. To the point where he's almost willing to threaten with violence.
Look at me and know what I'm trying to tell you. I'm not your enemy. I'm a scientist. I'm a scientist who's trying.
I'm a scientist. It could care less at this point. We don't even know if it's understood.
Oh, that's enough. Turn it off. Let it go. We don't want any part of it left.
Now, if anything, now's the time to take a picture. That's incredible. You know, electrocuting this monster right in front of them. It got him as well. So much for writing a good op-ed and everything.
There you are. See?
It'd be so much better for us.
Sure, our captain always flitting around and getting into trouble. You remember that night in Honolulu?
Eddie.
Boy, they're egging him on hard.
A man by the name of Noah once saved our world with an arc of wood. Here at the North Pole, a few men performed a similar service with an arc of electricity.
Oh, ooh, what a great tie.
Watch the skies, everywhere. Keep looking. Keep watching the skies.
No, that's a way to end it. You know, humankind won the battle, but continue to look out. It did not end, as brutally hopeless as Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Invasion of the Body Snatchers was to the very end of it was, you were just thinking, would Doctor ever get out of this? This one is sort of different to the fact that, we definitely have a happy ending. Thoughts. This one is, a lot more straightforward. I'm not so sure whether this thing ended up being that much more threatening. It seemed like Captain Henry and his folks always, had an answer. I'm not so sure if the Doctor, as much as he wanted to discover everything, whether he was used in the right way, I don't know. This just doesn't, it's an interesting film, but it does not compare to John Carpenter's version. I mean, this certainly will have, its moments. I think, when the thing sort of opened into the room and they initially blasted it with these flamethrowers and these bombs they were throwing at it. They were throwing kerosene. That was an interesting scene. I think that's probably the highlight of the film. It does take quite some time to get into the camp. It does take quite some time for the for the thing to eventually show up. And in terms of intrigue, it's very, they show you everything. And compared to the other films that we've watched, specifically if we're talking about Invasion of the Body Snatchers, I think Invasion is a film we can bring up because, it's talking about these body snatchers that happen to mimic humans and look like humans, and that's, similarly to The Thing. How the monsters ended up looking like humans. I think, the Invasion of the Body Snatchers was just, I don't like to compare it, but just doing it was a lot more thrilling of a film, a lot more better, a lot more very well directed, and it seems more in line with The Thing. But other than that, still great picture. It had those key moments where you can sort of correlate with John Carpenter's The Thing, with them, standing around the circumference of the ship. The whole idea with that there was a journalist taking pictures. I don't think they're the Norwegians, so I would assume The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, is a complete reboot of, not a continuation at all. But still, I mean, from what I know, The Thing is a prequel. It comes out before John Carpenter's The Thing, the one that came out with Joel Edgerton, and that sort of explains the whole Norwegian camp and so on and so forth. But still a fun film to watch, within this franchise, if we can call it that. So yeah, looking forward to the comment section, whether I missed anything, where I got it completely wrong, whether you guys think this is the best version. Yeah, interested to hear your opinions. And other than that, we'll get to the next picture just in time. So stay safe and curious. Take care, guys. What's up, you cinephiles? Thank you very much for making it to the very end. Me and Big Willie don't take that for granted. We really appreciate you. Now, if you'd like to show your support to us, you know what you can do up here. You can smash that button, really just smash it. And if you would like to check out some more content, they're all curated by days up over here and playlists. So, you know what? We hope you're having a great day. Don't crumble and just continue to smile and be a good bastion of cinema.